Hello! So, it's been a hot minute since the last time I read A Jesus Calling. I actually got COVID at the beginning of the year and just stopped completely because COVID mixed with treatment made for a rough time. So, here I am, months later, and I would like to read today's Jesus Calling. It is really, really good. October 17th. Anxiety is a result of envisioning the future without me. So the best defense against worry is staying in communication with me. When you turn your thoughts towards me, you can think much more positively. Remember to listen as well as to speak, making your thoughts a dialogue with me. If you must consider upcoming events, follow these rules. 1. Do not linger in the future because anxiety sprout up like mushrooms when you wander there. 2. Remember the promise of my continual presence. Include me in any imagery that comes to mind. This mental discipline does not come easily because you're accustomed to being a god of your own fantasy. However, the reality of my presence with you, now and forevermore, outshines any fantasy you could ever imagine. And I love this one because it so applies to me, and I think it applies to a lot of people. We live with so much anxiety right now, and I love that it says anxiety is a result of envisioning the future without me, aka without God. And if you think about it, it's true. It's me worrying about something in the future that hasn't even happened yet. And maybe it'll come true, maybe it won't come true, but nonetheless, I'm thinking of this without God within that. And so I thought that was a really powerful statement. And I love that staying in communication with God helps combat anxiety. There are all kinds of things that help combat anxiety, grounding, different practices, but just staying in communication with God and close to God and knowing His presence here tangibly can actually help ward off anxiety, help walk through anxiety, which is a really beautiful thing. And then the other thing is the 2 rules that we're given. I really love that it says, do not linger in the future. I always say, you can feel your feelings. So you can feel your anxiety, I guess, if you need to. You can feel a little bit of what the future you're wondering about, but don't camp there. Don't drown there. Go in and then allow yourself to come out. And that we shouldn't linger and just stay in that place of rumination about the future and about what may come or what may not come, because today has enough things to worry about. So that was 1. And 2, remember the promise of my continual presence. And for me reading that, I'm like, well, yeah, I know that. But no, the second part of it is include me in the imagery that comes to mind. So when I am taking myself and throwing myself in the future, which I do all the time, it's one of the things that I have to constantly give to the Lord. But instead of throwing ourselves into the future and thinking on it and ruminating on it and worrying about it and creating anxiety and even panic about it, if we were to take that thought of the future and put God in the thought and where He would play out in it and how He is who He is with His character and such, how that would change what I'm thinking about in my future, what I'm worrying about in my future, because His presence is now and here, but His presence is also in my future. And thinking about Him in that really kind of helps resolve some of that anxiety. And I love how it says that. And then at the very end, it says that the reality of God's presence outshines any fantasy. So it doesn't have to be fantasy, but any worry, any anxiety, any thoughts, rumination, etc. on the future, it flushes it out. It outshines. It's brighter than the hardship that may be coming or the thoughts of hardship that may be coming or whatnot. So I just wanted to share that with you today, and I just pray that today you will know that you are loved, you are deeply loved, and you are seen and you are heard, and that you don't have to live in the future. You don't have to live in futuristic things without knowing where God plays in those things. And I just pray that today you will feel God's tangible presence among whatever may be coming up today or coming up in your future. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon. for some more Jesus calling.